Hi everyone. If you could see me, just give me a thumbs up so I know that you're there. Is anyone there? Let me check. So I got one viewer so far. Well, I just want to say hello. Welcome to the Girl Scouts of Central Illinois Facebook page. Today we're going to be cooking with Jacqueline, and I am Jacqueline, so welcome to my kitchen. Today we're going to make the delicious and original Girl Scout cookie recipe. So it started in 1917 in a little town called, does anyone know the name of the town? I'll give you the hint. Carrie Underwood is from there. She was born there. It's from Muskogee, Oklahoma. So it started this in 1917, just 5 years after Juliet Gordon Low founded the Girl Scouts in the United States. So the recipe comes from Florence E. Neal, and it was later printed in the magazine Girl Scouts, American Girl, not confused with American Girl Doll, in 1922. And today we're going to make that recipe. Now, the girls had to make this recipe themselves, so imagine making all these cookies for everyone. I know there's a couple super sellers out there. They sold 2,500 boxes. Imagine making all those cookies by hand. That is outrageous. That is crazy. I couldn't do that. My mother would probably not want to do that as well. Now, before we get started, I actually measured out everything ahead of time. I'm notorious of forgetting like the sugar or the egg or the vanilla, so I pre-measured everything out. I have them in little ceramic things here, and then it's easy for me to put them all together. So let's get started. I'm going to tilt the camera down so you could see. All right, so in my bowl I have butter. It's been sitting at room temperature. I pulled it out this morning at 6. I'm not saying you have to pull it out at 6. I just wake up at 6. So I have a cup of butter, so it's 2 sticks, and I'm going to add 1 cup of sugar. Once again, I pre-measured it all out. So the butter should be nice and soft. I'm gonna make sure you get all the goodies in there. And I'm gonna mix them together. So you wanna make sure when you cream the butter and sugar together that it's actually fluffy and creamy. When you pick it up, you don't want to feel any of like the granules in there, because that means it's not ready. So I'm sorry if it gets really loud as I mix this. It's probably gonna take a few minutes. If you want to comment what your favorite cookie is. Hi Lily, hi Luke. All right. So I'll show you what I mean. So if you pick it up and you don't feel any of the sugars in there, that means you're doing really well and you're ready for the next step. So I'm actually just gonna blend it up for a few more minutes. I'm gonna grab my little spatula and get some of the butter out. All right, so the next step, I'm going to add 2 eggs. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add the egg 1 at a time, because you want to make sure that it's blended fully. All right, so I have my eggs. I told you I put in a little ceramic as well because I tend to get shells and no one likes shells in their cookies. So I'm going to dump 1 in there. I'm going to blend it up. Got most of the butter off, and I'm going to add my second egg. Pretty done. I had the egg sitting at room temperature as well. It's no shell. Woo. Now, if you don't have a hand mixer, that's fine. You could also just use a whisk. If you have a KitchenAid, you could use your KitchenAid. My sister has one. I'm hoping to steal it from her one day. Don't tell her. So I'm going to add a teaspoon of vanilla in here. I love the smell of it. Then I'm going to add my 2 tablespoons of milk. Doesn't matter what kind of milk you use. I just used whatever we had at home. Currently we have 2% at home. That's all we could find in the stores, so I used 2% milk. All right, so I'm actually going to sift in my flour. Hey, Miss Dashner, how are you? Now imagine, Miss Dashner, if you were to make all these cookies for your daughter and help her. She is a super seller, so I'm so proud of her. Now, so I'm going to sift it in. It's good to sift in your flour to help prevent any of the flour lumps. No one wants to bite into a cookie and get like a big chunk of flour. That does not taste good. So I pre-measured it out. I'm going to just probably sift in half at a time. I'm sorry, sir, it's making you hungry. I'm making the full batter, so I will have plenty of cookies. I wish I could come to your house and share it with you and Elena. All right, so I'm going to just, with this flour, I'm only gonna mix it a little with the blender, then I'm gonna fold it in. We don't wanna overwork the batter. All right, I don't recommend you licking the batter. There is raw eggs in it. I know as a kid I used to fight over it with my brother Ben. I know probably my nephews, they lick the batter beaters. All right, now I'm going to take my spatula and I'm going to make sure I get the edges. You want to make sure you get all the flour in there. I'm going to scrape the bottom. I'm going to take the last of the flour and sift it in. Hey, Danny. Clearly I spilled a little, but it's okay. All right, let's sift it in there. I probably shouldn't have worn black. I might get flour all over me, but it's okay. All right. So you could see there's a couple pieces left in there. The little pieces, no one, like I said, no one wants to take a big bite of cookie and get flour. So I'm going to just fold it in there. Now it's a great time to turn on your oven. I actually preheated my oven a while ago, so I spill everything. My oven's old, so I have to preheat it a little early. It takes a lot longer to do it, which is fine. Also, it's great. I have a temperature gauge in my oven too to make sure that the temperature's actually at the right. So the oven should be at 375. I put it at 400. Like I said, it's a little off, but it's okay. At least you know. Now, so I'm going to continue folding this. It's going to be really sticky at first, which is okay. So I'm just going to keep folding it in there. Now you're going to get messy. What you want to do is, once you get it all incorporated, so you want to make sure all the flour's in there. I'll tilt it down so you can see. Just spill. All right, so I have it all incorporated. It is a sticky dough, but that's fine because we're gonna roll it out and we're gonna add more flour to it. So what you wanna do beforehand is you wanna take saran wrap, let me clean up, or plastic wrap. And you actually wanna chill your dough for a couple hours. Don't worry, you won't be sitting here with me for a couple hours as I chat. I did make this dough last night, so it is ready for us in the fridge, but I'm going to roll it out. You could also freeze the dough, so if you make the whole batch and there's only a few of you that live in the house, you don't want that many cookies in the house, you could freeze half the dough, and that is perfectly fine. Make sure you get all that. You did all that work. You don't want to waste any cookies. My hands are clean, so don't worry, and I did wash the counter beforehand. I'm not gonna make a whole batch because, like I said, there's 2 people that live in the house plus the dog. Don't tell my vet, I do feed the dog the cookies. I hope she's not mad at me. So I'm going to roll it up, finish the edges. There it is. Now with the magic of my kitchen, I'm gonna grab the dough that's been sitting in there for quite a while. Don't look in the fridge. Alright. What you want to do ahead of time though is you make sure you have a clear counter. I like to move all my dirty bowls into the sink, and then I'm going to grab everything I need. So here's everything for the cookies. Like I said, it's been sitting there overnight. You could just have it at least for minimum for a couple hours. You don't want to work with warm dough. It's just gonna fall apart. It's not gonna hold its shape at all. Maybe Sarah will come by and drop off cookies for you. Now, what I like to do, because I get messy, as you could see, is I like to have a cookie sheet. So it's a pretty big cookie sheet. I don't know where I got it. Probably my mother's house. And I have some bench flour in this mug. Call it bench flour so you could just flour your bench, but we're gonna flour my cookie sheet. So I'm gonna take some flour. I do a lot to cover it. You don't want your cookie or your cookie dough to be all sticky on it, because then it's gonna be hard to manage. So put it in there. Now I'm gonna roll it out. This is only half the batch. You don't want to work with the whole batch. Like I said, it's easy to work a smaller batch. You don't want it to get warm. Now, I do have a rolling pin, but it's currently MIA. So what I'm going to use is just a water bottle. And I'm going to flour both sides. So I'm going to flour the bottom, I'm going to flour the top, I'm going to flour the lovely water bottle. Alright. Make sure there's enough flour everywhere. That's why I do it in a tray. Okay, so you want to roll it out about 1/4 of an inch, and you want to keep turning the dough so you know it's not sticking underneath. I like my cookies a lot fatter. Make sure you don't pull your dough, because then it could cause your cookie dough to not be even when you roll it out. I said I do rolling pin, but I don't have it here. You could use whatever you have at home. If you have a rolling pin, that's wonderful. Like I said, I like to flour as much as I can. It is a sticky dough when you work with it. That's why it's okay if you use a lot of flour. Alright, so I think I have it at the right inch. A trick is if you take like pop bottles or soda caps, whatever you want to call them, you put them around, it kind of keeps a little edge around here so you know that your dough is at the correct length. I'm not going to grab a ruler and measure it. That's like too much for me. But now it doesn't matter what kind of cookies you want. You could use the wonderful trefoil cookie. I got this from Sally. She is a wonderful lady. You could use stars. You could use a heart. It doesn't matter. The only thing is if you use different sizes, make sure the smaller ones when you put them on the tray is closer, so you could take those out first. I'm going to use, make sure it's not sticky, the big trefoil cookie. If you came to the awards ceremony a couple years ago, I made these cookies for them. So you want to start at the edge, kind of push and wiggle. Sometimes it comes up, sometimes it doesn't. What I forgot to do is you want to flour your cookie cutter. So this one comes up. Now I have a baking sheet ready here. We recommend you putting something down. If you don't have a silicone, you could use parchment paper, you could just spray it, but something I don't like cleaning, so I'm big on easy cleanup. So I always put something down. This one, see, look, I messed up. I didn't have enough flour there. That's why you gotta flour your bench and your hands. Now let's do another one. All right, just kind of pop it out. These are giant cookies, oh my gosh. Put it on. I'll do one more. I'll wiggle it. Now my hands are like super floury. Okay. It's great. I probably should have put an apron on. All right, so we're gonna take our cookies. I'm gonna put them in the oven for 375. Like I said, my oven's a little wonky, so it's at 400. And you're gonna put it in for about 8 minutes. So let me start my timer. Now, with the leftover dough, you can use it again. Obviously, we don't want to use it right away because you want your dough to stay warm. You don't want your dough to stay warm when you work with it. You want cold dough. So what I'm going to do is just take some bench flour and just kind of mold it back together. It's only going to take about probably 20 minutes for you to be able to reuse it. Once again, I'm not a professional baker like Patty is, but I do my best. I'm going to take it, I'm going to put it back in my bowl, I'm going to put it in saran wrap, I'm going to put it in the fridge. Now, hold on, I'm so sorry. It might get loud. I'm going to wash my hands. I'm sure we're all used to washing our hands. Now, it's always good to clear your surface off. So what I'm going to do, like I said, I love having everything when I roll the cookies out, anything working with flour on here, because then I could just take a lovely towel and just swipe all those lovely extra goodies that's fallen off onto here. Easy cleanup. I don't like cleaning. Now, as we wait for it, well, I'm going to show you an easy recipe to do while you're waiting. So I was watching Chloe's video last week, and it was about how to make a fire. Now, we actually have an ordinance that we cannot burn currently, but watching that fire was so sweet, and I'm like, oh, I wish I could roast some marshmallows. So today, I'm gonna show you how to do an easy, quick recipe. Make sure you don't lose track of time. So you're gonna get any kind of cookie. So I got the fudge stripe cookies, any brand. Make sure they're the fudge stripe ones. It doesn't matter if it's name brand, it doesn't matter what it is. Sorry, it's getting really loud. And I'm gonna take some napkins. And you're gonna take 2 fudge stripe cookies, and this is gonna be your s'mores. So on the cookie, this will be a graham cracker, so the cookie itself. Then on it, it has some fudge, and that's gonna be your chocolate. Now, what you're gonna need is, you don't need this giant tube, but it's just so delicious to eat by itself. So I bought a giant tube of fluff. All right. Fluff is very, very sticky. If you ever worked with it before, you'll know when you work with fluff, you wanna use a real knife. Obviously with adult supervision, you can use a spoon, but if you use a plastic one, those tend to break very easily. No one wants to be fishing out a plastic spoon. It's no good. So I like a lot of fluff. Look how good this looks. And I'm gonna grab a scoop of fluff. This is your marshmallow, and you're just gonna lay it right on your cookie. All right, like I said, it gets sticky. It's just like roasting a marshmallow, but inside your house. Or if you're like me, you can't. All right, look where your access. And you're going to grab the top of it, and you're gonna smush it together. How good does that look? It is so Good. Now I'm gonna take a bite. I'm probably gonna get it all over me, so please don't judge me. Probably can hear me chew. It's so delicious. It's so good. It tastes just like a s'more. I highly recommend to try it. It's really good if you're trying to practicing, if you want to go out like camping and you can't right now. Maybe you could pitch a tent in your backyard if you have a big enough backyard. As a kid, we used to pitch it in the living room. We had this giant 9-person tent. All of us, I come from a big family, all of us would jam in there. We'll make s'mores. You could actually make s'mores at your fireplace as well. But this way, it's hassle-free. 2 ingredients, how can you beat that? And then a knife. So, I'm gonna take one more bite. It's so good. I can't wait to see all my leaders again, all the girls. I miss everyone. I'm gonna put it down now before I get it everywhere. And hopefully we can make some s'mores together. I made some. So fluff, doesn't matter what kind of fluff you get. And a nice fudge stripe cookie. So I have about 3 minutes left. I bet you this is gonna last maybe a day in our house. I do not feed the dog chocolate, FYI, just the sugar cookie. So, FYI, with the cookie we just made, I do have some. I pre-made it in the back. We're still gonna wait on ours. Now, will you make sure when you take out the cookies that you have a cookie sheet to put it on when they cool down? It helps for the cookies. It's nice. It cools them down evenly. It's not going to keep cooking on the tray. So I have this tray. You can buy it anywhere. If not, then I do recommend you taking it off that tray and putting it like on your counter, if it's clean, of course, or somewhere else. Put that back. Now I made these cookies yesterday. I made little heart cookies because I miss and love every single one of you. Now what you also could do, since this recipe is very rippable, so this recipe was purposely made for girls to make it themselves and sell it themselves. So it's pretty rippable. Now my challenge for you girls is try to make this cookie yourself, to make it you, to make it more pizzazzy if you would like it. So what you could also do to add stuff into the cookies is you could add a little bit an almond extract. Don't add a lot of this. It's very, very potent. So it says in the recipe it calls for a teaspoon of vanilla. I'd probably use like a quarter of this with it. It smells so good, but it's very potent, so be careful with it. I'm a big fan of cream of tart. So I just add a dash of cream of tart. I also recommend, I'm not a professional baker. And then it's always fun to make these cookies pop. So if you're having it, if you're making it for the Girl Scouts, if you're making it for a birthday party, or just making it for yourself when you're home in lockdown, it's always fun to actually mix it up and use a little food coloring. We're actually going to use, I recommend you using food gel. Doesn't matter what kind of brand you use, but food gel, if you use the liquid kind, you're going to add liquid to your dough, and you don't want that. Your dough might not turn out as well. Now, and also a quick tip, when you make these cookies, I didn't, but you could also, hey Miss Courtney, you could also put sugar before you put them in the oven. You would sprinkle a little sugar on it, makes it pretty, it's a little sweeter. If you don't like your cookies really sweet, it's probably not the recipe that you would want that add the extra. What I love is I let adding, there's not much left, but sprinkles to my cookies. It makes it fun, it makes it bright. It's a little birthday party on your cookie. So I did it with this one. I did it with the extra dough. So add a little fun sprinkles. My watch is going off, so that means the cookies are ready. So I'm gonna turn it off. So you could add different stuff to it to make it yours. All right, let me see if it's ready. Make sure you grab a mitt. I've done it before, I burnt myself, notorious. All right, so you wanna make sure that your cookies, they're not ready, but I'm gonna show you. So here they are, they smell good. But you want them a little brown, so I don't know if you can see, but the edges are kind of getting there, but I think I'm just gonna put them in for like another minute. Make sure you set your timer. I do that all the time. I'm like, I'll just put it in for another minute. And then a minute goes by and I smell burnt cookies and it's my fault. I burnt a roast before. So I'm gonna say, so what you could also do is you can frost them. So we do recommend, if you do frost them, to be careful because you don't want to, I guess, have the frosting run off. So you can use different kinds. You could decorate it. So I like royal icing. I think that's the best kind to do. There's recipes all over the internet for royal frostings. Most people use it for like Christmas cookies, but it works fine here. You could put a little message on it, just like our lemon cookies. So you could put a leader, you could put amazing, you're beautiful. It's a small cookie, but if you get like a giant cookie, you could write different powerful messages. So when you make these cookies, either for your mom, for your friend, for your sister, I could put, I love you, Jen. So at least it's more personal, more you, and it tastes delicious. All right, so that's been a minute. I'm gonna try a cookie with you. I'm gonna tell you it's delicious. Get my cookie. Try it out. I'm gonna grab them with the glove. Like I said, you don't want to burn yourself. It looks so good. So I'm gonna leave it on here for a minute. I'm gonna turn off your oven. That's another thing I tend to forget, is I forget to turn off my oven. So don't do that. Make sure you turn off your oven. I'm gonna let these cookies sit for a minute, then I'll transfer it onto here. So that's it. I hope you had fun, girls, cooking in the kitchen with Jacqueline. I'm Jacqueline. Now you could get this recipe at our website at getyourgirlpower.org under the Shine, Sparkle and Shine little tab. All that's on there. You could see my recipes. You could see Sarah Tate's recipes. If you missed it, she made taco puffs. We made them. They're so good. I had a lot of cheese on it as well. Now, because I did challenge you girls to make this recipe yours, you could add, like I said, vanilla, you could add food coloring, you could do different shapes. I want to see what you make. So please hashtag us at hashtag GSCI Shines On. I'll try to look at every single one of yours. Please post hashtag. Don't forget to like our Facebook so you can get a little pop-up message when I'm on next. But you could, let's see what's coming up. So let's see, tomorrow there's a 20-minute try it. So if you want to do the 20-minute try it, just leave a message and we'll get you that Zoom link. And then on Friday, we're going to do outdoors camp sing-along with Kaylin. That'd be fun. No one wants to hear me sing, so I'm happy she's doing that. And then on Monday, you're going to do STEM back with Courtney. She's going to do catapult physics. That's always fun. And then you're back here with me. We're going to talk about nature. I know today is Earth Day, but next week it could be Earth Day as well with us. So I hope you come back. I hope that you had fun with me. I want to see everything that you made. Thank you so much and have a great Girl Scout day.